Good afternoon, everyone. Wow, this is really an amazing turnout. But don't worry, I won't let it go to my head or anything. I know the truth. Everyone's only here for the lunch bargain. I know the conversation you all had with your friends. Jewish humor with Rabbi Jason. $5 for a Matt Prentice lunch. Why not? Such a deal. I'm sure some of you are even here on the $2.50 Groupon coupon. I'd like to give a little shout out to the good people at Groupon. I only gave them a shout out and mentioned their name so I could maybe get some stock options before the big IPO. People ask, when I first started telling jokes, when I first started to try and be funny. And I'm not exactly sure when that was, but after my grandfather passed away, I began to lead my family's Passover Seders. I guess you could say that people thought I was pretty funny at these Seders. I mean, my parents started charging a cover and a 4-drink minimum. 4-drink minimum, hopefully you got it, Passover, 4 glasses of wine. Never mind. I would like to quickly thank the good people here at Temple Israel, or as they like to call it, Temple. They did ask me to make a few announcements at the beginning before we go any further. Let's see here. In 5 minutes, Rabbi Loss will be leading a lunchtime service in the sanctuary, while Rabbi Yedwab leads a yoga service in the library. Rabbi Bennett will meet with Jewish teens who are skipping school in the youth lounge at 12:30, and then all of those rabbis will rotate. Rabbis Hornston and Kaluzny will be at the mikvah for a lunchtime water aerobics class. It's a busy temple environment here. It's very impressive. This place is really just amazing. There's so much programming. I mean, on the high holidays, there's like 20 different services going on. 3 shifts. You might not know this. I studied this in the Talmud. It actually discusses, 1,500 years ago, in the Talmud it actually discusses the 3 shifts, 3 different services here at Temple Israel. It says, and I quote from the Talmud, Hillel says that if you get tickets for the late service on Yom Kippur, you can trade with a family who has tickets to the early service, so long as you include tickets for a future Pistons game or rock concert. That has to be done in the transaction. Shammai, on the other hand, Hillel and Shammai always seem to butt heads. Shammai disagrees with Hillel, of course. He says you can't trade high holiday tickets with another family, but you can put your Kol Nidre tickets on eBay. Rabbi Shimon says no, only Craigslist. But Temple Israel's great. It's a huge building. I got here a little early today, just to get ready. And I will confess, I got lost here at Temple Israel. I got lost in the building. And so I took out my cell phone just to call one of the rabbis to try to get directions to Herman Hall here. But I couldn't get any cell phone reception. So what did I do? I walked outside into the freezing cold. I took out my cell phone, and I called Verizon Wireless to complain. So what does Verizon Wireless do? They ask me where I am. So I say I'm at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield. And then they asked me to be more specific. They actually asked, Verizon actually asked if I was in the school wing or if I was in the sanctuary wing. So I said to the lady, what does it matter which wing I'm in? And she explained that those are actually 2 different zip codes and 2 different calling. So a different coverage area in the same building. And finally, here at Temple Israel, I never really know, maybe you're like me, I never know which entrance to use. Right? How many, there are 3 main entrances to the building, right? I'm sure you're like this. And I never know which one to use. 3 separate entrances, 3 separate marquees. So what do? I pull up to the 3rd entrance, and it says go back to the 1st entrance. But, I didn't want to put the miles on my car, so I just parked and walked. Okay, let's get started here. I see that there are, in the back, there are some, not sure what the PC term is these days, seniors, older Americans. Anyway, it's great to see some of the great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers here. And if I could just have some volunteers from the older table back there. I need one person back there just in the middle of my presentation just to sort of put your hand to your ear and tell me that you can't hear. Is there a volunteer who's going to do that? And maybe at this table, if there's one person who's going to just kind of like in the middle tell everyone else at the table that the food here is horrible, and of course the portions are too small. That's right. Oh, and I promise at the end, I will take some questions. I will take questions at the end. But in the interest of time, let me just answer a couple of things very quickly before we go forward. No, I don't know your 80-year-old retired rabbi, your 80-year-old cousin's retired rabbi in Fargo. And number two, I know this is going to be a question, I am happily married, but I do have a good-looking younger brother who's single, and he is adopted. He is 27. My mother will be handing out his cell phone number. Please wait until the end of the presentation to ask for his phone number.